Welcome back to the 10-minute round. This is the show that does not know how to stay within its time limit. We're definitely not going to this week because we have a lot to talk about. Let's start with this past weekend. What an absolute domination by Sean Brady. You have to understand the depth of what Sean Brady accomplished on Saturday. He not only dominated the former champion, the number one ranked welterweight in the world, he won every single round and he finished him. Leon Edwards had never been finished before. Sean Brady went out there and did what nobody else could. But it does leave us with a bit of a dilemma at the top of the welterweight division. On May 10th, Belal Muhammad is defending his belt against Jack Della Maddalena. All right, so Belal was supposed to fight Shavkat back in December. He had to pull out of that fight. Shavkat took the Ian Gary fight. Shavkat won. It was a bit of a lackluster win against Ian Gary, but nonetheless, he won. We tried to reschedule it for May. This time, Shavkat had to pull out with an injury. So hopefully you're still following along with me here. Now, we have what happened this past weekend. Sean Brady's win over Leon Edwards, to me, is way more impressive than Shavkat's close win over Ian Gary. Now, I get it. It's a little messed up if the UFC goes, hey Shavkat, you really did us a bro move in December by taking that Ian Gary fight instead of fighting for the title. But now we're going to replace you with this other guy because he just had a really good win. But if you're asking me, I think this fight makes Sean Brady the number one contender by far. What he did is more impressive than what anybody else has done in the welterweight division so far. So I think that he should be the guy that is next in line for the winner of Belal versus Jack Della Maddalena. We don't know what the timeline is for Shavkat Rakhmonov. We don't know when he's going to be back. And if anything, one of these guys, either Sean Brady, if we're not going to give the title fight to Sean Brady, if we are going to wait for Shavkat to get better, then we got another guy in Joaquin Buckley out there waiting in the wings, coming off of a dominant performance over Colby Covington. Somebody's got to fight Buckley. So I think what the UFC should do is we should have, to me, Sean Brady is the number one contender. I think when Shavkat is ready, he can fight Buckley to see who the next guy in line is. And just so we don't forget about Ian Gary, Kamaru Usman's got to come back eventually too, right? But what's next for Leon Edwards? To be honest, in the last episode, I was still kind of leaning towards Leon in the sense that, like, sometimes when I make a pick based off of, hey, me, guy on the couch, drinking beers, eating chips, sees that Leon Edwards has this glaring weakness in his game. You know, from the very first minute Sean Brady went out there and was in Leon's face, Leon is only good when you let Leon do Leon stuff. When you fight Leon, fight his range. He likes things to look pretty. His striking is pretty. But if you don't let him do that, it's like he's lost out there. And that is exactly what Sean Brady did to him. He took the blueprint that Belal Muhammad made and he improved upon it. Leon's team, Leon's coaches, Leon himself, you got to be like, hey, obviously this is a weakness in our game. We have to address it. Being at this level, I thought they would, and they didn't. So really, at this point, him and his team, they have to go back to the drawing board. They need to get this figured out. It's going to be a thing where now everybody that you fight is going to try to do this to you, and now you have to figure out how to stop it. As far as the rest of the card is concerned, Carlos Olberg got the win over Jan Blachowicz. It wasn't super impressive. I'm just going to be honest. Light heavyweight is so shallow that going out there and putting away the 42-year-old coming off the 2-year layoff, that's all you need to be in talks for the title contention, and you still didn't do it. Mind you, Jan didn't look bad, you know, but you still, as Carlos Olberg, as the rising contender, you still got to go out there and do it. Meatball Molly retired on this card. If your dream is to be the best girl in the division and you're getting finished by the girl making her debut in the first round, it takes a lot of humility to admit to yourself that, hey, this probably isn't going to happen and I might as well pursue something else. Good for her. It's good that she came to that realization, and best of luck to her in the future. Kevin Holland should definitely stick to welterweight. And I was also really excited about the Nathaniel Wood fight, but come on, man. You're so talented. You got to go out there. You got to take some risks. You got to put the guy away. All right, but that's enough to talk about the Redcoats. Let's move on to the Mexicans. We got a card out of Mexico City. this weekend. I don't know who Steve Erceg wronged in the UFC. I don't know if Steve Erceg was making fun of Power Slap, if Steve Erceg was saying that The Ultimate Fighter should be canceled, but the UFC is definitely not doing Steve Erceg any favors. He is coming off a brutal round 1 KO loss to Kai Kara France, and the UFC is like, hey man, how would you like to take on the guy that finished the guy that just finished you? I don't know what's going on with Steve Erceg and his team, but they clearly don't believe in taking a step back and maybe taking a tune-up fight. That being said, the only thing that's stopping Brandon Moreno from winning this fight is Brandon Moreno himself. Frankly, as much as I like Brandon Moreno, sometimes he just doesn't show up to his own fights. At this point, we've seen it happen a few times, but if the Brandon Moreno that beat Amir Albazi shows up to this one, I feel like he's going to get the win pretty decisively. Not just that, but it's really hard for Brandon Moreno. As long as Alexandre Pantoja is the champion, it's going to be tough for Brandon Moreno to get another title shot. But it would really help his case if he goes out there in this one and he just runs through Steve Erceg. The co-main event for this one is also pretty bananas. Drew Dober is fighting Manuel Torres. I don't know if you've seen Manuel Torres fight. He was on that Sphere card. He fought Ignacio Bahamondes. Bahamondes knocked him out with that really nice little step back counter right hand. Unfortunate luck for Manuel Torres, but he is a dude who goes out there and with every shot, he has bad intentions. Like when this dude throws strikes, he is trying to hurt people. He has a really sweet standing elbow KO in the UFC. If you haven't seen that one, check it out. I'm sure it'll be on your Instagram feed sometime this week. And then you got Drew Dober, who's always a scrappy dude. He's very, very durable. He's very talented. He's got knockout power himself. I think the co-main event is going to be extremely exciting. I don't know who's going to win this one. Honestly, I feel like these guys are very evenly matched. I'm going to be curious to see how this one goes. I'm very, very stoked for this one. And then as far as Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pfeiffer is concerned, this is a hard one for me. I was a big Kelvin Gastelum fan. I was rooting for him when he was in The Ultimate Fighter many moons ago. But the downfall of Kelvin Gastelum, we're going to need like some scholars to look into that one. Kelvin Gastelum, ever since he fought Israel Adesanya for the title, he has just been like, his career has been kind of a tragedy. On top of that, I've never really jumped on the Joe Pfeiffer train. I feel like obviously the dude has big power and the UFC loves him. Big, beefy white dude that can knock people out. That's what the UFC is about, baby. But I'm not sold on him. He got outstruck by Jack Hermanson. As of right now, I kind of feel like this fight can go either way. This is Kelvin Gastelum going back up to middleweight. I just don't know how to feel about Kelvin Gastelum right now. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets knocked out by Joe Pfeiffer. There's a ton of good fighters, a ton of good matchups, but for the sake of time, I'm going to stick to the one that everybody wants me to talk about. The reason why everybody's here. We're going to talk about Raul Rosas Jr., Chiwiwis himself. He is fighting Vince Morales this weekend, and let me tell you a little bit about Vince Morales. Vince Morales was in the UFC a few years ago. He had a tough time. He dropped a couple of fights. He had to leave the UFC. He went out into like different organizations, Risen being one of them, but he racked up a bunch of wins outside the UFC. He came back to the UFC. He got himself back in recently, I think like last year, and he's on a 2-fight losing skid. So what this means is that this fight is really just another fight for Raul to go out there and for him to win. But if you want to be that kid, he wants to be the youngest champion. He thinks he deserves to be in the rankings. He thinks he deserves to fight ranked fighters. You got to go out there, and against an opponent like Vince Morales, you got to just dominate him. You got to finish him. I understand that Raul is a fantastic grappler. That is where his strength lies. He's got great wrestling. He's got great jiu-jitsu. The stand-up needs to catch up a little bit. If you want, go out there, maybe take the first round and try to stand with Vince Morales. Try to get some more minutes in the stand-up against a live opponent. But eventually, take him down, do your thing, get him out of there, get on the mic, do your little promo, say your little catchphrase, and just leave people with that memory. Because your career is still building. And so you got to put a dude like Vince Morales on your highlight reel. And really, that's all I got to say about this one. I know these episodes have been running a little long. I actually don't think this one was as bad as I thought it would be, but I'm kind of combining 2 episodes into one. We got another week card next week. The main event is like Josh Emmett against, I forget who, but it's kind of a lackluster card. And then after that, we got a big one. So I'm excited about that April 12th card. It should be great. It should be a good time. I'll see you then, or I'll see you next week. Peace.